G'day team, welcome back. Yesterday we did the whites, a couple of shades of blue, and it looks like black, but it's not. It's the naughty panes of grey. Now today, I don't know what we're going to do, but we're going to have some fun. What we're going to use, probably Naples yellow is where we want to be sitting. Maybe, definitely whatever we do, we need white. That's a must. And if anyone can help me out, in Spanish songs they say the line "my parilla" or something. My parilla. What does that mean? That wasn't me. That was the paint. I swear. Pastel pinks. Why not? A little bit of a pastel. Pinko. Pastel pinks. Turquoises. It's actually 2 plates there. That can be deceptive. More titanium white. That is appropriate. This one here is called Arctic blue. Hello, Jules. How are you keeping? Are you living, laughing, loving? Toning grey yellowish. This is one step in the right direction away from toning grey, which is a necessary colour, but golly gosh, how boring. Let's put a couple of little dots around there. I'm going to grab a little bit of phthalo green. I won't, if it's still got the lid on. That will slow me down. That will slow me down just a little bit. Just un petit. Adding this medium changes the viscosity of the paint, and you just want to dribble this over the whole thing, like that. Voila, like icing a cake with like a decorative chef design. And once you put that icing on there like that, you have got the ability with your brush to just gently mix as you go and keep making the viscosity what you need it to be. My apologies. Bless me. I'm just looking for a paintbrush. I have one here. I had the perfect, there it is. Is it? Yes. Thought I'd lost it. We haven't yet. Okay. How am I? We get estar. Oh, is that how are you? I'm there now. I'm very good. I'm very good. We are painting a ship holding a gentleman called Harrison, who was the botanist on the ship as it travels through Antarctica. These are icebergs, this is going to be water, and that's going to be sky. Is the hope. See where we get to. That's where I left that. I've got a little miniature cup of coffee. And then we've got a Loki boy who might help. Just going to angle it just a little bit. Bear with me. You're going down sweet like Mexico, honey. There we go. How's that? I don't. I do not. Here we go. So, adding this medium through the paint, if I show you up close here, it's going to thin it out. The thinner it is, the harder it is for that to leave behind texture. And we don't want texture early in the piece. We want colour, these fancy words, value, colour and energy, just the right sort of vibe. And then once we've got the picture coming together in an explosion of sort of tones, then we can come back and suddenly say, okay, let's capture a few bits of detail, which will definitely be, you're welcome, Celia, just put you there, which will definitely be in black. Did I say that? Detail's always in black. That's where it really screams off the page a bit better. This is the tasty turquoise. One of the colours that's become incredibly easy to get your hands on, but wasn't always historically so. And I've got a little bit of phthalo green here, which was a naughty choice, but be careful not to add too much of it, being that Antarctic is not known for how green it is, but it makes sense because the character in this boat is a botanist, and Antarctica once did have vegetation all over the surface. So who's that? Hey, thanks, Kim. Appreciate that. So what we might try and do is actually lean harder into greens at the start a little bit. So that way, when the icy overtones cover them up, it'll have that kind of literal connection between that happening and what happened with Antarctica in reality, where there was greenery there and then all of a sudden it was covered in ice. Could be fun. Hey, welcome back. We're on the exact same work that we were working on yesterday. And I'm sorry, team. I know I said I'd come back that night, but I looked out into that brisk, cold evening and I thought to myself, I'll come back in the morning. But that's the way it goes. The federales say they could have had him any day. Slip away. Kindness, I suppose. Oh, hi, ho. Now, a lot of these colours here, and this is the way I run a palette, this is quite messy, but a lot of the colours here that we're working with are kind of pastel-y. So a lot of pastel layers building up, and those darker areas will just punch off the surface with black. Love black. If you've got an art teacher that's telling you avoid the black or don't use black in the artwork, etc., I've had plenty that have. Terrible advice. Terrible, terrible. You get that black. You put that in your work if you want to. Oh, cheers, Jay. I'm glad my country can be here for you. Naphthol pink, 2 of those. This one is Parole red. Yeah, maybe a bit. Just a teeny tiny bit. Thing is, black's the defining color. So if you use it with just the right amount of restraint, it's actually the only thing that can make a work show up and appear. Without it, I don't know, it's all just mush. The color has no form. The color needs it. Is it special? It is a special work. It's a commission, but also at the same time, the individual on the boat is an ancestor of Shelby's. Go figure. How does that work? Well, birds and the bees, but the blues are good. I couldn't help myself. It's an Antarctic piece, so I went blues first, but we will gravitate around the spectrum as we go. Hello, birdie. I think we'll oscillate least of all in colours like yellow and red, but they will appear. The cooler phalos, turquoise, blue. Now these will party. These will party well for us. Sorry, team. I've just lost my image. I will find it. I found it. It wakes the painting up. I suppose it does. One amazing thing to use in the early coats as well is acrylic gouache. Because see how on this plate here, aloha Steve. Yeah, indeed. So see how these lugs, although the white gel I have in between, which I love the stuff, don't get me wrong, this stuff's great. This changes the viscosity of everything. If I was using acrylic gouache off the bat, the paint wouldn't stay in these clumps so perfectly. It would spread around the palette more. You'd lose a bit of control, but the paint would effectively come for those base colors pre-mixed. So it's acrylic gouache is essentially the same stuff. It just has less of a sheen to it, like a little bit of shine. You got 3 kinds of sheen. You've got matte. Well, you got endless kinds of sheen, but you've got matte, satin, and gloss. So gloss is really reflective. So from a distance, it'll usually go white, you know, as the light hits it on different angles. And then you've got satin, which is halfway between gloss and matte. So it's got a little bit of a shimmer to it. Kind of looks a little bit wet, but not completely. And then matte has no shine at all. It looks dry. And they've all got their place. Oftentimes, paint looks better when it's wet, when it has that kind of juicy wetness to it. But when you end up actually going into the gloss too much to try and pursue that wetness, what can happen is suddenly you end up with a surface that's too reflective, so you can't actually make out the art you're looking at, which is a disaster. Ooh, yes. Is this one going to look better from further away, like the other ones? It's such a funny thing. So I love this artist. What's his style? Oh, it's amazing. The further away you go from it, the more you'll like it. I'm like, I know a few people like that. So we're going to add some red in for flavour, but not too much. Controlled flavour. And if we do it well, it won't make the environment feel hot. But colours can have that impact. I know you didn't mean it like that, that's just being funny. Colours can have the impact of making you, red, hungry, energy, heat, blue, water, sadness, but they don't have to. If you use them in the right way, they can mean whatever you want them to mean. This great print from Picasso, not a real one, it's just a knockoff, but it's a print, and what it is it's someone with their back turned huddling over themselves, and you could say that is the quintessential embodiment of depression. Blue everywhere in a cave-like environment, and I've never seen it as a sad work. I've always looked at that work and thought, wow, what an amazing piece, because it does remind me of Plato's cave analogy, which basically a couple of people in a cave can't see the rest of the world and therefore assume there isn't the rest of the world, and what they see in the cave, the shadows cast on the wall, etc., is the entirety of lived experience, and there's nothing more beyond it. One of the prisoners gets away, goes out and sees the world for what it actually is. It's not just shadows, there's more beyond the cave, and he comes in and tries to tell the other prisoners. Now, if you did go and see more of the world, say the fifth dimension, say they were living the equivalent of 2 dimensions looking at shadows on the wall, and now there was a prisoner that had information about another whole world, another whole dimension to it. What could that prisoner possibly say to the other prisoners to explain that? In short, you pontificate for a while and then realise you can't, because certain elements of knowledge can only come from lived experience, unless you're willing to absolutely discard your world on a thought experiment alone, which, if you can do that, you might be the next Einstein. But anyway, with this one painting, the thought experiment was, not the thought experiment, with this one painting, what I loved about it was I felt like this person's cowering over and hunching themselves in a cave, and once you take that on board, you look at the rest of the picture and think, there's actually light coming from all the corners of this quote-unquote cave. There's a brightness creeping into the painting on all 4 corners from every direction. But the person's hunched over and they can't see it. So, effectively, the person's in a depression of their own making, and surrounding them is actually light. If only they'd lift their head. But they believe they're in a cave. And because they never lifted their head, they actually were. So I look at that picture and you always think, at any given point, we're all that person hunched over in the cave, and maybe the answer to our problems is we need to lift our head and notice that you're not just locked in a cave, you don't have shackles on, and light is coming from all 4 directions. I need to show you the picture so I can actually show you what I'm talking to here, but effectively it's a picture, glow in four corners, character in the middle, facing away, no shackles but hunched over, and rock-like texture all around her. Globetrotter, welcome on in. Good thing about a messed up brush too, when it gets really scruffy like this. It's not so much about the corners as it's about the actual character in the center, but it's compelling. Good thing about a brush that you get all scruffy and messed up is that all of a sudden it starts behaving exceptionally well for mixing, well beyond what you'd originally start with. But if you rub too hard, the brush eventually actually starts losing its bristles. And once it loses its bristles, it becomes useless. So there's this kind of sweet spot between a new brush and a no longer usable brush where it's perfect. It's about trying to work with a brush until it gets that perfect spot. The perfect spoot. So I make sure my canvas doesn't fall down on me while I'm jabbing and prodding away at it. Hello, Jay Smith and Lena. Thank you very much. I appreciate you being here. You end up with a brush like this. Hold on, I'll get some more paint off it first. So you can see. That actually cuts off part of that boat. Which is good because we kind of over-exaggerated the size of the boat at the start, and after I slept on it, I wasn't such a fan of that. That's a brush right there. Now, it is acrylics. We might dice into oils before we're done, we'll see. Not a stranger to mixing them. And if I feel more rigid today, bear with me because I've got an absolute crook in my neck that I'm trying to navigate. Very funny, but anyway. So I'm trying to keep myself nice and straight so it doesn't get any worse. What a silly design, the whole neck spine part of us is. So fragile. The weakest points at the bottom. It's like we were supposed to walk on all fours. Thanks, Lena. But reason for acrylics, Lena, over oils is because we're going to do a lot of transparent layering, which acrylic is better at. Each person to their own. We might even chuck some gouache in here, Lena. Like, no guarantee we won't yet. Hello, Mike. That's going to come to there. But in amongst the colour, we'll keep chiseling in and out in white and black. Keep bringing it back to these fundamental colours, the kind of strong base that'll make Antarctica what Antarctica is. I'm half inclined to think I might grab some black right now, actually, or Prussian blue. Question is, will I do it on a new plate or the same plate? Might grab a new plate. Will the reds disappear eventually? Maybe. Or if we like them, hey Sammy, they might stay. Do you not like the reds? I don't mind them. At the end of the day, we don't want a whole lot of heat, but there is sun hitting these icebergs. The reason that there's even light here at all to understand the picture is the sun's striking the ice. So with that in mind, red, light, heat, probably not heat, but it's probably very cold there. But it doesn't matter if red stays. We can still make an image cold with red. Can. Funny thing about this kind of painting, Lena, is that, what are you doing, Loki? Is, I should go check that. What are you doing, mate? Oh, Logie, what you doing? There you go. Hey, hey, hey. Come on, buddy. Hey, Logie. Leave it, cowboy. Sorry, team. Puppies will pup. Had found a little bit of fence. And he was just having a good little play with it. But the thing about playing with things like wire is that he can get himself wrapped up wrong and hurt. So, although he might not understand it, it's time he stops playing with it. We'd love a whole lot more expression inside this work, but we don't want a whole lot more detail. It's kind of where it wants to be in terms of detailing. Unless you come up really close, you might see something more. Excuse me while I grab some, that soft-bodied acrylic. That soft-bodied acrylic. I've got some acrylic gouaches around here somewhere. That's what I'm after. Acrylic gouache, there we go. Got ya. Acrylic gouache, got ya. Are you acrylic gouache? I see, the ones with the black text. These are the ones we're after. But I do want black acrylic gouache. That's soft-bodied acrylic. We're not after that life. That'll do. Acrylic gouache. So, acrylic gouache is nice in that it levels itself off, so it automatically doesn't want to have a whole bunch of texture inside the work. Hello, Pooch. And thanks, Queen. I appreciate you being here. Acrylic gouache is quite a new kind of paint. It's not crazy in terms of, oh my God, it's a new technology. But it's basically gouache paint that we already know and love with its matte qualities, and they've combined it with plastic. So it dries to a permanent, hard to move film, which gouache had always been, you could reactivate it. It would dry, but it wouldn't cure. People would say, well, you've removed the point of it. No, you haven't. You've created a medium with intense color with the ability to go flat. Acrylics don't really have that. You can say soft-bodied acrylics. Soft-bodied acrylics just, they've got a place, but they just run everywhere. Hey, Ashley. And it's really annoying. But gouache, because it's more matte, it seems to stick to where it's going better than soft-bodied acrylics. There we go. That's a great question. What are we painting after this? There is a couple of commissions. There's a family, there's a landscape, there's a couple of things. I think, I'll see how I'm feeling after this. I'm not sure whether this will turn into a landscape kind of style or whether it'll be more of a personality piece. Genre where the boat becomes the character. If it goes in that direction, we'll probably end up doing the landscape next. But if this feels very landscapey, then we will go to the portrait next. Because you've got to keep that balance. You've got to keep going backwards and forwards and backwards and forwards. But if you stay on family, 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 which I love doing families, I do. And I love doing pets, companions, I do. But you can't go pet, 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 pet. You have to go animal, family shot, genre, landscape. Because otherwise you start actually just oscillating around quite a small niche. And it's not a branding thing as much as it is you'll start strangling it to try and replicate what you've already done to make the next person happy. And no one's showing up to get the product you made to make the last person happy. They're showing up to see where the next one goes, that it will be the artist, but not a replication, that there'll be features of it, at least some features, which make that new and different, like a marker, a milestone of a journey. Because your style has to, even if it's infinitesimally small, it has to continue to develop. If your style doesn't continue to develop, then you're no different to an AI algorithm spitting out a result over and over again. Certainly not worth taking the risk of purchasing. Let's see. Oh, watching, actually. That's the biggest risk of all. What will you do with your time? Are you going to sit there and watch a replication happen over and over and over again? Or is your time more valuable than that, and actually you'd like to see new journeys, new quests? Not utterly different, but ever so slightly new. Like a very good use of seasonal television. You can hear my tummy rumbling. You know how every season kind of has a similar feel, but you're going somewhere new. That's, in my mind, that's good art. You know, we talk about Van Gogh style or Picasso style, evolving ever so gently over time. Don't force evolution, but certainly don't shackle yourself to stop it from happening at all. I hate it, but I need some grey. No carrots. You can try and force it, but you're probably going to land on strangled abstract work, which ultimately won't feel good as you made it and won't feel good to look at. The best artwork's made when you don't force it at all and you just let it happen. Organic. Here we go. Teeny bit of grey. Let's have a little bit of a blue hue through it, which it's not offensive. There we go. I do. A lot of them are commission based, so we will have already, the collector's already basically pre-purchased it. That's the idea of a commission. So that gives the collector control over the inspiration and subject matter. And then my job is to do that vision justice and transmute the image or the idea through my lens or creative style to make a picture. Not always simple. Not always simple. Doable, but not always simple. Whew. Might need to close those doors. There is a bit of wind blowing around, team. Hold on 1 second. There's these big barn doors that I'll leave one of them open, but that one's just catching a bit much wind. So we'll sweep it shut. There we go. Kim, you love the red? Well, it's lucky we added it in. It's Antarctica, but we absolutely need to be cautious on overdoing the colour and not turning it into a clown landscape, but having these playful touches that are outside the typical colours you'll see in Antarctica. So this place doesn't feel cold, it actually feels alive, because why else would there be a botanist painting plants, leaves, organisms, living things of different kinds in the South Pacific if he didn't believe that he'd find things worthy of that adventure? So although this is not a place where he found a twig or a tree or a little creature, it's part of the quest that he went on. We're going to reflect that in a few of the greens. And maybe with a red stain, a bit of vigour. Red is most certainly the colour of vigour. Blue gets a bad rap. Blue's got that, the blues, depression to it. But it doesn't have to be. It can be stoicism, it can be pleasantry, it can be certainty, it can be trust, security. That's why a lot of insurance companies have blue brands and logos. Tower, Geico. It's because you see blue and it feels trustworthy. Yellow's happy, but yellow's also weak. Bit of a interesting thing there. The old cowboy movies, he's yellow. You call it a yellow belly, as in like you're a coward. Don't know where that originates from, but it's interesting how we pair colours with things. The only thing out of all the colours, if you were to pick things wrong with certain colours, reds don't mix that well. Not surprising, being that they are the vigorous, righteous colour set. And yellows, they're just really, really, in terms of pigmentation, weak. They're incredibly weak as a colour. You need to add in so much more yellow than any other tone to get what you want to get done with it. And even then, raw primary yellows don't have a lot of what you want in them. They don't do the job. That's simply that, and I don't really like the colour yellow that much. Why I use Naples yellow instead. Naples yellow has this kind of warm glow to it. It gets that spectrum without needing to go into the nasty, nasty deeper yellows. Just makes it look like a cartoon. Cerulean blue has a similar effect, but there we go. Grey is going to be our friend here. Because everywhere we put grey, it'll give the other colours a chance to pop. Grey is the most important colour in the palette, sadly. I have to admit. Because it is the most boring. And as the most boring colour in the palette, it has the ability to make everything else pop. So, hate it or love it. If you really want an artwork to pop, it needs grey, because real pop happens with contrast, not just with colour. If you want a colour to pop, put it beside grey. Not black or white. They'll stand themselves out. They'll tell their own story. But grey doesn't tell a story. Grey just is boring, beside raw, primary, beautiful colour. So, in that mind frame, I feel sorry for blue getting a bad rap for being the sad colour, when actually, oh, you're very close, Meg. Actually, it's 4.2. And that way, grey should be the sad colour. But they only say you're grey when you're getting old. Colours sit in very, very funny places. Maybe you should turn blue as you get older, because you get more stoic, trustworthy, possibly, and still and relaxed, not grey. And then when you're sad, at any age, you should be grey. That makes more sense, right? Get this killer over here. There we go. Hello, Beeman. Now I need pure white, so this has to go. We're going to use my funky plate. I'm going to wipe it on up. Oocha. And I'm going to grab some titanium white. Titanium white and clear painting medium, just to loosen it up just a wee bit. See what I'm talking about? That stuff just runs, but this stuff's very strong, stays in the same place. I'd love to use acrylic gouache, but this thing's actually pretty much, oh no, I might have a fresh one here. I do. That's good news. My love, my love, my love, she keeps me warm. There we go. Now I'll show you. This is what it's like when it's already mixed. You ready? See how that one's running with a loosest viscosity? That one there is as if these will be mixed together. So gouache kind of leapfrog, skips that step. Hey, Haley. Which makes gouache quite an easy paint to think, right, let's just get in there and party. Plus it levels out. It doesn't try to stay thick and juicy on the surface like unmixed acrylics. You'd say, well, get soft-bodied acrylics or normal acrylics. I like the heavy-bodied ones. I like to mix heavy-bodied down to soft. I just find soft is just too flip-floppy. for too long. Just stand back and have a look at this. Where are we going with whites? Literally everywhere. The dark colours have taken over, and they must be repelled. Powerful, unapologetic whites. Unapologetic being the key word, not just a lot of white, unapologetic white. That's going to be what makes the ice feel strong. You can hear my tummy rumbling. I haven't had breakfast today. So, Rose, thank you very much. More of a bastard. Yum, 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 yum. These are the clouds at the moment, team. Never understood people who love to paint just clouds. I guess it's therapy to enjoy painting, but Titanic? No, this ship made it there and back. But I just can't ever get my head around the idea of just doing endless clouds. There must be a meditative element to it, but I need the change. I need the different textures, different parts, different colours. By jingos, clouds are just, you're just slowly, gently oscillating around the same colours. Hey, thank you, I appreciate that. We'll see where it lands though. And sometimes when you're painting, someone's like, I'll take it, I want to buy it. And you're like, there's 3 layers left here. And you may, by the time I'm finished, hate this painting. Now, it doesn't happen often. You'd say about 10% of the time, they'll be like, oh, actually it did change, the vibe I thought was there changed. Other people will actually start loving it more and more and more. So everyone's unique, but enjoy the journey, see where it lands, and then see if that's for you. Hey, thanks team. Jay, I know you played a massive part of that. 10,000 likes is no small order. That's a lot of tapping. It's 10.5 now. Someone's got a thumb. You be careful, you go lightly though. I don't want anyone getting arthritis on my watch. And the temperatures here at the gorge, my wrist plays up. I've broken it so many times. And so when it gets really cold, and I get cold like to the bone, that's when it starts to really hurt. It doesn't affect painting and things. It has all the mobility. The issue is when it comes in when I'm lifting weight and it twists, it's hard to hang on to. We've all got our things. Some of us have sore knees, hips, shoulders. I've got a little boo-boo on my wrist. And hey, thanks George and Jake Alexander. It's me. But I will have to, I might have to dash off shortly. I'll do another about 5-10 minutes. I've got a builder doing some work on the property at the moment. Surprise, surprise. I'm not a great builder, but I've got a guy. So I'll give him a little bit to get in there and get set up and pull out his tools. Now I'm going to go in there and we'll chew the fat. Only plan. And if he needs any help. Let's grab a little bit more gouache. Have you not heard that saying before? Chew the fat. Well, I can't help you. I've never heard the origins of the statement, but what it means is to have a discussion, to find common ground, to have a yarn. That's chew the fat. Very important to take the opportunity to sometimes chew the fat. How's that? Oh, died on us. I see. Has it? Yeah, it did. It's tragic. It's useless now. I do that because I don't normally wear it outside, but it has a bit of echoey, murmury. Hello, hi. Welcome on back. The stars have aligned and you have returned. We're painting a ship. This is true. Long time no see. It's my fault. But it's an honour to be back. And to have you pause on your scroll today. With the amount of content out there, even a simple pause, there's such an amazing nod of, would you call it a nod of respect? No. When they're like, this is a sign of great respect in their culture. You know, as part of our culture, pausing on a scroll. Like maybe. The fun thing about this shit as well is that the paint doesn't really dry on the plates. It stays here fresh until literally 48 hours, I'd say. The only reason why we're not frosty, that'll do, is because I've got this wonderful little heat lamp coming down straight onto me, which makes, oh my lord above, such a difference. The green bothers you? Sorry. Like I say, see where it goes. We all go on our little journeys, wherever they take us. Guys, I'm going to pop inside and see that builder. I'll talk to you all soon. All the best. It's morning here. It's about 9:20, but wherever it is where you are,